Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shop Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Friday, December 15th, 2023. And if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my $19 Bank Shop best bet, as well as my all-access season pass in college hoops, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Friday in college basketball. First up, we see Texas State taking on Sam Houston. This one's going to be 7:30 Eastern. It's going to be on ESPN+. Now, I think this is a pretty good matchup for Sam Houston. They won their last game, failed to cover the number in the end, 63-62. But here against Texas State, Sam Houston's defense, very aggressive. They force a lot of turnovers. Last year, this team was ranked 14th in the nation in turnover percentage defensively. This year, a little drop-off, but still 57th. They're forcing turnovers on 20.7% of their opponent's possessions. That's a problem for Texas State. This is a team that turns the ball over 20% of their times offensively, or over 20% of their possessions offensively. They're not a very good shooting team. They're 332nd in effective field goal percentage, 347th from the three-point line. Sam Houston's defense should have a big day in this game. The question is their offense going to be good enough to win this game and cover the number? I think so. Sam Houston does a really good job of getting to the free throw line. Texas State takes more fouls than most teams in college basketball. So the Bearcats should be able to get 20, maybe 30 free throw attempts in this ball game. They already get 24.2% of their points from the charity stripe, which is 23rd in the country in terms of the most, the teams that rely on the free throw points the most. Texas State teams are scoring 26% of their points at the free throw line against the Bobcats. So this looks like a really good matchup for Sam Houston. I'm willing to lay the points with the Bearcats at home. Next up, we see Texas A&M Corpus Christi taking on UT Rio Grande Valley. This one's also going to be 7:30 Eastern, also going to be on ESPN+. Now, this is a rematch. This is the second meeting of 2 in the season series between these teams. And, oftentimes we take teams that lose the first meeting of a 2-game season series because, they're playing with revenge, and usually we can find good value on those teams that lost the first game, just like we saw earlier in the season, about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, with San Jose State and North Dakota State. San Jose State won the first matchup by about 15 points at home. North Dakota State was home in the second game. They were actually favored by a couple of points. We took the Bison because we thought that they played pretty well in that first game, and if they had a better shooting performance, they would have went on to win that ball game. Now at home, with revenge and a pretty good price, it was worth taking North Dakota State in that rematch, and the Bison won that game in overtime by 5 points. This is just not one of those matchups, in my opinion. I think actually, UT Rio Grande Valley won the first game on the road, 76-74. That was their last game. They've been off for over 9 days now, so it's certainly a rest advantage in this ball game for the Vaqueros. But they played well in that ball game, and they're actually missing a few key players in their starting lineup and a few key reserves in that ball game. It's questionable whether they're going to return, but if Hassan Abdul Hakim especially comes back, who you could argue is the second best player on this team, be a big help for the Vaqueros, and he's had 9 days off now, so potentially he returns to the lineup. But UT Rio Grande Valley just matches up well with Texas A&M Corpus Christi, in my opinion. Both of these teams do a pretty good job of getting to the free throw line, and both of these teams take quite a few fouls. But UT Rio Grande Valley especially, this team scores a ton of its points at the free throw line. And Texas A&M Corpus Christi, they have, teams are scoring 27.2% of their points at the free throw line against Corpus Christi this season. That's the 5th most in college basketball. So, to me, usually we take the other side when they lose the first matchup of a 2-game season series. But I like UT Rio Grande Valley to sweep the season series here, and at a pretty reasonable number, I say why not? I'm going to take UT Rio Grande Valley and lay the points. Next up, we see Northern Colorado taking on Colorado. This one's going to be an 8 p.m. Eastern start time on the Pac-12 network. I could consider this a letdown spot for Colorado. I know it's been a while since they took down Miami back on Sunday, December 10th. That was a 90-63 blowout win at the neutral site. Colorado now improves to 7-2 on the season, but while I still think Colorado wins this game against Northern Colorado, it's regional rivalry game where we're catching a ton of points with Northern Colorado, a team I think is better than its current record, better than its current adjusted efficiency numbers, both on offense and defense. This is a Northern Colorado team, and it's a decent shooting team. They take care of the basketball. They're also strong on the defensive glass. That's really important against Colorado. Colorado, one of the best rebounding teams in college basketball, 28th in offensive rebounding, 24th in defensive rebounding, but Northern Colorado is 69th in defensive rebounding percentage. They shouldn't give up too many second chance looks to Colorado in this ballgame. That was a problem for Miami in that game, as Colorado had 12 offensive rebounds. They had rebounds on 46% of their missed shots offensively in that ballgame. I don't think that's going to be the case in this matchup. I think this is going to be a closer game than what the spread suggests, so give me the points here with Northern Colorado on the road. Next up, it's Cleveland State and Bradley. This one's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. Neither of these teams are in great form right now. We see Cleveland State losing 2 straight and 3 of 4. Bradley's lost 3 straight games. Granted, they played some tough teams along the way, and in this losing streak, Murray State, Indiana State, and Akron with 2 true road games. All 3 teams are top 150 in KenPom, but I'm a little bit worried about this Bradley defense. And at the beginning of the season, it was super strong, and it's still ranked inside the top 80 in adjusted defensive efficiency, but they're not a very good defensive rebounding team. 280th ranked in defensive rebounding percentage. Cleveland State top 50 in offensive rebounding. So while the Vikings aren't a great shooting team, they should get a lot of second chance looks in this ball game and get to the free throw line quite a bit as well. Bradley, just beyond the defensive rebounding issues, I think the shot quality numbers aren't great for this defense. They're giving up some, pretty high percentage looks to their opponents. In Cleveland State, if there was a game for a breakout performance offensively, I think this would be one. And we saw them score 77 points against a solid defense last time out against Kent State. Bradley on the other side, last game only scoring 52 points against Akron. They had a really bad shooting performance in that game. I think we see them bounce back from that. They were 28% from 3 and 42% from the free throw line against Cleveland State, another defense I'm not in love with. And I do think Bradley bounces back and scores into the 70s, maybe 80s in this ball game. I'm looking to fade both of these defenses. I think they're quite overrated right now. Both of these offenses play with pace. I'm going to take the over in Cleveland State Bradley. Next up, we see UConn and Gonzaga, definitely the game of the night for Friday's card in college basketball. This one's going to be 10 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on ESPN2. It's a part of the Continental Tire Seattle tip-off, so it's a semi-home game for Gonzaga here. Should be a great matchup. 2 top 10 teams in the AP polls, 2 of the better programs in college basketball in the last decade plus. But in this particular matchup, I like the defending national champions here. I think what makes UConn so dangerous this season compared to last year, obviously last year, national championship, they ran the table in the NCAA tournament, made it look so easy. They won every game in the tournament by double digits. But, the couple of things that they had some issues with, there really wasn't much, but they did take quite a few fouls defensively. They were really aggressive defense, fast-paced defense. They did take a lot of fouls. Sometimes teams could exploit them and get to the free throw line quite a bit. Granted, there wasn't a lot of exploiting being done against UConn basketball last year, but that was one of the little problems. The other thing was the turnovers. They had a really strong front court sometimes. They had some issues turning the ball over. They were ranked 236 in turnover percentage offensively. Losing the ball on 19% of their possessions wasn't great. But this year, they've made improvements on both of those facets of the game. Their defense is not taking too many fouls, yet still pretty aggressive, still 16th in the country in adjusted defensive efficiency, and they're 28th in offensive turnover percentage, only losing the ball just above 14% of the time offensively. The backcourt doing a really good job at taking care of that basketball. This makes UConn even more dangerous, in my opinion, this year. And while I did lose that game at the true road game against Kansas, 69-65, it was still a really competitive game in that one. And that was a true road game in a really tough building. Now at more of a neutral site location against a Gonzaga team that I'm not completely in love with right now. We saw them fail to cover against Mississippi Valley State, lost outright against Washington. I do think that their backcourt has a little bit of problems with the turnovers. They're ranked 151 in turnover percentage, which is right around the country average. And not really where you want to be usually if you're Gonzaga. This is usually an offense that's lethal, if not number 1 in the country in adjusted offensive efficiency. This year, not the best shooting team, especially from the perimeter, 168th in three-point shooting, not really getting to the free throw line much. While the defense has good numbers on paper, I do think when you look at the shot quality, not the best. I think UConn is the better team here fundamentally, and I think shot quality-wise as well. And, they got the experience, the national champions. They're the team to beat this year. I like them in this matchup, so give me UConn. And that's it. Those are the games for Friday in college hoops. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. But don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.